Today we are going to start the integumentary system. The integumentary system. So it is the very important topic first of all, and it is the first thing which from the outside we will enter our body. Okay, so that's the reason the author is planned to teach the system first. Okay, after that we will talk about muscular system, bones, then afterwards nervous system. Okay, so likewise we will enter in our body by one system. Okay, first of all, today we will talk integumentary system. The integumentary system consists of skin, okay, and accessory structures like hair, sweat gland, and subcutaneous tissue. Subcutaneous tissue is present below the skin. Okay, so basically the skin is made up of several types of tissues, and that's the reason it is considered as organ. So basically the skin is made up of different type of tissues, so it have different type of tissues we will study later. Okay, so we will talk about those tissues and those different types of tissues. Because the skin covers the surface of the body, one of its function is readily apparent. It separates the internal environment of the body from the external environment and prevents the entry of many harmful substances. Okay. First function of the skin is because it will separate the environment between the internal body and external environment. So it is the between, it is the one layer. If we cross that layer, we will enter into internal system of the body. Above the skin we have external system, whatever we have: air, water, space, okay, earth. Okay, we will see other persons. Okay, this is the first and main thing main function of the skin. Okay, and as well as it will stop the entering of harmful substances in the internal system of the body. Okay, okay, so this is the first function. First function is it will separate outside and inside environment, and it will stop the entering of harmful substances into the body. Okay, the subcutaneous tissue directly underneath the skin connects with muscle and has other function as well. And the second, we have subcutaneous tissues. Below the skin, we have subcutaneous tissues which will directly attack to the muscle, and it will give strength. Okay, it will give tightness. Okay, and third thing is it will support the other internal organs which are present beneath the skin. Okay, there's the reason God gave us the skin and subcutaneous tissue. Okay, so let's start the topic. The skin. The skin has two major layers. So basically it have two major layers. Mean it have two layers. Okay, these are the two layers. If this is the complete skin, then in the skin if you enter, we will get two layers. Okay, one layer is epidermis. This is the epidermis, E for epidermis, and the second one is dermis. Okay, we have D for dermis. So first in the alphabetical order we will get D first and E later, A B C D, then afterward E. Here it is very opposite. Okay, first we will get E epidermis, then we will get D dermis. So likewise we have to remember that in alphabetical order the dermis will inner side, okay, and the epidermis is outer side. Okay, first of all we will talk about epidermis. okay, in detail. Okay, then we will talk about, then we have, in the epidermis we have many things. Then we have dermis. In the dermis we have hair and other uh, related things, receptor, nail follicles, glands. Okay, so this is how we will continue our lecture. So first of all we will talk about epidermis. So you have to note down the very important points. Okay, the summary every time. Please remember that the summary of the chapter it will present into your book, because it will very helpful. Okay, when you refer the notes, if you likely if you refer the notes whenever a case of skin disease if came into your clinic, okay, you want to treat the patient very well, so you will not able to remember all the things, all the material in your brain. Okay, so whenever the patient came, if you're not able to solve the issue, please refer those skin chapters, and you have to study the basic things: anatomy, physiology, and pathology. Okay, then afterwards, if you do the diagnosis, then you will treat the patient. You will get the best results. Okay, so there's the reason always I advise myself also, and I advise you also, that please note down the important things in one book. If it is possible, very short, thin, don't mind. Okay, so we will talk about epidermis. The epidermis is made up of stratified squamous keratinizing epithelial tissue. So epidermis is epithelial tissue first. Second is stratified, means it have multiple, not simple, it is stratified. And a squamous, and it is its shape is squamous. And keratinizing means one of the protein, and it is present in the skin and is thickest on the palms and sole. So epidermis is thick in our hands. This is the palm. This is the palm, and in the sole in the leg. Okay. So if we observe in all the parts of the body, the skin is very thin, but comparing to the other parts, in our hand, in our legs, we have thickest skin. Okay. The first thing we have to remember that epidermis is made up of epithelial tissue. In epithelial tissue, it is made up of stratified squamous creatinizing. Okay. Second thing. And the third thing we have to remember that in our palm and hands, in our palms and sole, the thickest skin is present. Why? Because we do hard work with this. We will lift the things, we will put the things, we have to uh, bring the all those things in our hand. Okay, so there's the reason God gave the thickest skin in our palm and sole. The cells are, एक मिनट रुकिए मैं आ रहा, नहीं आ रहा अभी, वेट करिए. The cells are that are most abundant are called keratinocytes. So which cells are present in the epidermis? That are keratinocytes. Keratinocytes. And there are no capillaries present between them. So there are no capillaries present in the, ठीक है वेट करिए आ रहा हूँ बोला, and there are no capillaries present between them. Okay, although the epidermis may be further subdivided into 4 or 5 sublayers. Two of these are greatest importance: the innermost layer, the stratum gravinatum, and the outermost layer, the stratum corneum. So basically, the epidermis have 5 layers. So basically, this is the epidermis, and this is the dermis. So epidermis have 5 layers. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, in that 4 or 5, in that 4 or 5, the two are very greatest importance, and so we have two very important layers. Two are in that 5. Okay, the two are very important. First is innermost layer. The innermost layer, if it is present here, this is the innermost layer. Its name is stratum germinativum. Stratum, its name is GSSG, stratum germinativum, and the outermost layer is stratum corneum. Stratum corneum. See, this is the stratum corneum. So basically, you have two layers, epidermis and dermis. In epidermis, we have 4 to 5 layers. Innermost layer is called stratum germinativum. Outermost layer is called stratum corneum. So we will discuss those layers. You can see here. This is the epidermis. This is the so-called epidermis. In the this is first layer called stratum corneum, and the second layer is this is called stratum germinativum. So this is the one, this is the two, this is the outer, and this is the inner. Okay, and there is poor supply. You are not able to see the capillaries in this area. Okay, in the epidermis, most of the capillaries are present here only in the dermis. This is the dermis. This is the dermis. This part is called dermis. This part is called. This is the epidermis. Okay, and this is the dermis. Okay, this is the epidermis, and this is the dermis. In this we have subcutaneous tissue and the fascia, this white layer which connects skin and subcutaneous skin and muscle. Okay, so first of all we will talk about stratum germinativum. Okay, so basically the stratum germinativum is the innermost layer. It is the innermost layer. Here we in the diagram it is given that stratum germinativum, it is present here. You are going to see now that this is the uh, stratum germinativum. You can see here. This is the layer. This is the layer. Okay. This is the layer. Okay. This is like wave. Okay. This is the layer. This is the layer. This is called stratum germinativum. Okay, this is the stratum germinative. We have to remember that it is the innermost layer. The stratum germinativum may also call the stratum basal. So the second name is also called stratum basal. Each name tells us something about the layer. To germinate means to sprout or to grow. So germinativum means to grow. So here some of the things will grow here. So what the things? Basal means base. So it is the basal second layer, means in the innermost layer in the epidermis. So in this base something will grow. Okay, the stratum germinativum is the base of epidermis, the innermost layer in which mitosis take place. Okay, so why it is called stratum germinativum? Here mitosis will occur. What will occur? Mitosis. We will study about mitosis. The cell division will occur. New cells are continually being produced, pushing the older cells toward the skin surface. These cells produce the protein called keratin, and as they get further away from the capillaries in the dermis, they die. So basically, what will they produce? Some of the layer here, one will produce keratin. Okay, this is the epidermis. Cell division will happen. So if this is reduce their length from the capillaries, the circulation will not happen. First thing, and second thing, the innermost layer here new cells are producing. So what will inner layers will do, it will send this layer into outermost layer. Means the circulation will stop and these cells will die. Okay, these cells will die. As dead cells are worn of the skin surface, they are replaced by cells from the lower layers. Then what happened? Then again this layer will enter here. New cells will new cells will replace here. Okay, here the dead cell will worn out. Okay, scattered among the keratinocytes of the stratum germinativum are very different cells called Merck cells. These are receptors of the sense of touch. Okay, so basically we have one type of cells called Merck cells. Here they are present. If we touch the skin, anything will touch the skin, it will take the sense to the nerves. What will happen? They will take the sense to the nerves. Which cells? Merkel cells. So they are present in this layer and this layer. Okay. So first thing we have to remember that we have epidermis, then dermis. In the epidermis, we have two layers: stratum corneum, outermost layer, and inner layer is stratum germinativum. Okay, stratum germinativum uh, have two layers. The inner layers, if we die, okay, what will happen? It will replaced by new layer. The mitosis will occur. Okay, so this is the thing we have to remember. And another thing we have to remember that the living keratinocytes are able to synthesize antimicrobial peptides called defensins. What will keratinocytes do? Keratinocytes will produce one type of antibodies. Antimicrobial means whoever want to enter into the epidermis without the permission of the skin, what will this will act and kill those microbes. Okay, these other kernels are produced following any injury to the skin. As part of the process of inflammation, defensin rupture the membranes of pathogens such as bacteria that may enter by way of breaks in the skin. If it enters into our skin, what will happen? If it is possible to kill the bacteria, our defensin, which produce defensin, keratinocytes, our defensin will kill that bacteria and rupture that and kill that. So in that process we occur inflammation. We will have inflammation. What we have inflammation. Okay, so second thing we have to remember that how the inflammation occurs in the skin, because the one microbial entered, our defense attacked to the microbe and the inflammation occurs. Okay, due to the rupture of small tissues. Here's second thing we have to remember. The living portion of the epidermis also produce a vitamin. The cells have a form of cholesterol that on exposure of ultraviolet rays is changed to vitamin D. Okay, the second thing we have to remember, in the stratum germinativum, one type of cholesterol is there. We have cholesterol in this area. So whenever the cholesterol exposed to the ultraviolet rays, what will happen? It will convert into vitamin D. Vitamin D. How it is happening? Let's talk about that. Then modified by the liver and kidney to the most active form called 125D or calcitriol, which is considered as a hormone. This is why vitamin D is sometimes referred to the sunshine vitamin. People who do not get much sunlight depend more on nutritional source of vitamin D, such as fortified milk, but sunlight is probably the best way to get vitamin D, and 15 minutes a day, a few times a week, is often enough. Vitamin D is important for the absorption of the calcium and phosphorus from food in the small intestine. These function has been known for years. Recent research, however, suggests that vitamin D is also involved in maintaining muscle strength, especially in elderly people, in the functioning of insulin, and in some immune response, where it may protect for some types of cancer. So basically, the second important thing which is present beneath the skin, that is cholesterol. Okay, whenever the sunlight exposure onto the skin, the cholesterol will convert into the vitamin D, and after that, it will converted into 125D or calcitriol by our liver and as well as kidney. So why that vitamin D is important? Because whenever we eat calcium rich nutrition food or phosphorus food, it will not absorb by the skin until vitamin D is present. So vitamin D have the capacity to absorb the calcium and the phosphorus in the body. So, and the second most thing, the vitamin necessary of vitamin D is that for insulin synthesis and as well as muscle strength and immune response also. It will improve immune response also. So basically, the elder people doesn't get much sunlight, and as well as the our female doesn't get sunlight exposure. So that's the reason they are getting knee pains, joint pains, osteoarthritis, lumbar spondylitis, cervical spondylitis. Okay, these are the things we are seeing multiple cases in our clinics, in our hospital. So what is the main reason? If this is nutritional deficiency, then it is vitamin D. Then it is vitamin D. So we need vitamin D for calcium absorption, phosphorus absorption, and as well as in recent study told that the functioning of insulin and immune response, muscle strength are needed. Okay, vitamin D needed. Okay, so poor intake of vitamin D and poor sunlight exposure is very bad to our health. So that the reason some people take vitamin D supplements, which is not good for their health if we take long time. Okay, so basically, so we studied today stratum, germinatum, epidermis, and the skin. We have to remember many things which is given in the epidermis is called stratum germinatum. Okay, the first thing is we have to remember that mitosis occur in the lowest part of the stratum germinatum. First thing, second thing is had keratin, and the keratin have and we have max cells also, which will have sense response, okay, touch response, and keratinocytes synthesize defensins which will kill the antimicrobial, which are antimicrobial and kill the microbes. Okay, and the second, the most important thing, the epidermis have cholesterol which will converted into vitamin D after the entering of sunlight, okay, which is helpful for the absorption of calcium, phosphorus, and insulin synthesis, working of the functioning of the insulin, immune response, okay, and also protect some types of cancer. So hope you understood the lecture, today's lecture. Okay, we conclude here only. Okay, we will continue tomorrow. Okay, friends. Thank you.